Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your modelers have practically built themselves. Right, lined up, fire. Ah, no, oh man. Well, I'm back to playing World of Tanks, which is awesome. I've downloaded it on this computer, and I'm working up the tech tree. Just got blown up, but I gotta tell you, I'm enjoying being back on World of Tanks. And one of my favorite tanks that I had before, they finally built a model of. And that is the Japanese 150-ton OI tank. We reviewed it just a few days ago on the channel. I got it built. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so here is our behemoth in the World of Tanks game. Here's how it comes. And this is before you put any camouflage on it. They have some neat camouflage patterns in the game. But the main gun is a 150 millimeter. And the front turrets, I believe they're 47 millimeter cannons each. And then in the rear turret is 2 machine guns. So as I'm putting it together, and this thing builds quickly and very easily. And as I'm putting it together, I notice when I put these wheels on the bogies, there's something a little bit off. Now, part E7 there in the back has a big nut on the end, and these E5 are flush on the front. So as I put them on and I put them into this place here where it shows to put them, everything else lines up perfectly and is, you know, like I said, it goes together quick and it goes together well. The fit's good. However, on these wheels, this is what happens. You can see that it's cockeyed because that nut hits the arm and it just doesn't leave clearance. So I had to take that apart and turn it around. Another thing is, as I'm putting the mufflers together, there's this big old nib, I don't know what else to call it, right in the middle there. That I'm sure is going to make it so it wouldn't close properly, so I had to remove that. And there's several of those throughout the kit, but this was the only one that was an issue. Otherwise, the kit itself built very, very quickly. So now the paint. I decided to go with olive green from Tamiya XF58. That's one of the colors that's recommended for these late war Japanese tanks. There's supposed to be a brown that you mix up, but you know what? I just used NATO brown and it worked fine. And then of course khaki for the yellow. And the khaki is supposed to be the base color, so I whoopsed and I actually did the olive green as the base color, but you see how that turned out. And then for the camo pattern, it's supposed to be a hard edge. So some of it, you can see I started here with the tan, making some lines with the with my brush so I could fill those in later. Now, when it came to the wheels, of course I just left everything olive green except for the tires. And instead of trying to paint them black, I did this little trick that I do all the time and just used a Sharpie to get the black tires, the black rubber on the tires. And then, because I'm not going to worry about playing with this thing, this track, once you glue it, it's solid, it's not moving. I didn't want to waste the time to build the entire track, so this is all the track that I built. And the track was a pain in the neck, I'll tell you. I have some of this old roof brown, which is one of the best colors I've found for tracks ever. Had some of this left over from my old Floquil Railroad colors. And as you can see, it looks pretty good as a base. And then from here, of course, you've got to weather them and put some steel on them. But you'll notice parts of the track coming apart here. Oh my gosh, these were they were a nightmare. It took me 2 days to do the 2 sides of the track. It's the one part of this project I did not enjoy. So as you can see here, I'm taking my brush and hard edging
parts of the camouflage. Now I'm going to spray the rest of the pattern, believe it or not, with an airbrush, and I had applied the green with an airbrush. Now I did this all in my little home office, which you may have seen the video on that I did last year, which is kind of just a small space. And here it is. Here's my airbrush. I did a review on this earlier this year. It is a cordless airbrush, and I did this entire tank on one charge. I didn't have to recharge it. It did a phenomenal job. You'll see some of the finer detail I got into, so I highly recommend one of these. And here we go. Here's the camo pattern. I would have to come back with a brush and hard edge a little bit of it, but I kept working on the different colors about 3 or 4 times until I was happy with how the camouflage looked. And you can see here, it's turning out pretty good. For me, it's going to be fine. Now, this is really nice and clean, and seeing how this wasn't a tank that they ever finished anyway, I'm going to take a lot of creative liberties here. Let's rust up the muffler first by using some of that roof brown. I've got it on there, and then I'm going to take this version of Larry's bathwater. It's a very watered down brownish wash, and I'm going to use it as a filter on the entire tank to give it kind of a dirty, filthy look. And you can see here how that turned out, and you'd look at it and say, oh no, you've ruined the whole thing. No, we're going to come back with a black wash of Larry's bathwater. And if you don't know what Larry's bathwater is, one of the first videos I did about 4 years ago will explain what it is. It's just a pin wash, but I also use it as a filter, and I'll try to put a link in the description here to it. So I went ahead and put that all over. You can see that it's toned down some of that brown. Now I'm going to go ahead and take some Mars brown pigment that I have, and I'm going to brush that on the muffler to give us this fresh, rusty colored look. I'm also going to use it in some other places around some hinges and whatnot to give it that. Again, I don't want it heavily weathered like it's been out in the storm for years, but I do want a little bit of rust here and there. This is the figure that comes with the kit, and I think he builds up fine and looks okay. Quick and easy to paint. And here we are with the finalized. We've gone ahead and taken some of that Larry's bathwater wash and streaked it up and down. It's helped to clear out some of that brown and mix in with it, and it just, to me, gives a good weathered look. Now here around the fuel caps, I went ahead and took some Testors Flat Black in the little bottle, little half-ounce bottle, and mixed it with, I believe, some mineral spirits. Okay, so I'm going to try and show you folks how I do my dry brushing. So we have already done the brown filter. We've already done the black filter, the Larry's bathwater. And then we've gone through these panel lines a couple of times, both with Larry's bathwater and then a thinned down Testors Flat Black enamel to get these panel lines darker. And also we thinned down some of that enamel to get the oil stains. Now, what I'm going to use is I've got, because the base color of this is kind of a khaki color, a tan color, so I'm going to use this British Gulf Armor Light Stone, and I'm going to use that as my dry brush. I'm going to show you how I do this. So get a little bit on here. I mean very little bit. And I'm going to carefully work along the edge here, even the green and brown edge. And I'm going to carefully go over. You see these, maybe you can, maybe you can't, these bolts. This is perfect for dry brushing. And we're just going to catch the heads of those bolts across here. And then here on the filler, we're just going to get the highlights. Same with the grate. Again, we're just going to hit the highlights. So very, very little paint on this brush. And I just want to hit the edges
And I just want to hit the highlights. And try to just hit them, I should say. Maybe you can see on camera, maybe it's way too subtle for the camera, I'm not sure. We'll give you a close-up here in a minute of the results so you can see. It's a very, very subtle detail, but it definitely adds to the final look of this thing, because it will pick up every little minute detail, every little highlight. Still going. Still got a little bit of tan on there, or whatever this is. Again, it's a very subtle look. The weld seams, I made sure I put a lot of the wash down in the weld seams so that the highlight hopefully will pick up the top part of those weld seams. You can see I'm just using an old brush. I can kind of beat up here. Okay, we're gonna zoom in here in just a second. Hang on. You can see these areas how it's picked up the paint, these edges. Let's show you up here, close up. I want to make sure I don't have too much paint on there. Picking up all these little highlights. Oh yeah, those really pop. So yeah, you get the idea of how I do my dry brushing now. Try to do it so that it's very subtle, yet effective. The edge of the doors here. Corners of the turret. Paint on there. And it's hard one-handed. I really need the other hand to hold the turret here. But you folks get the idea. This is how I do it. Very simple technique. I do this to pretty much all anything that's camouflaged, ship, airplane, tank, whatever. So all right, there you go.
And here is the finished piece. Now I have not weathered the tracks other than putting a little steel on them, because I'm going to put this in a diorama eventually, and at that point in time I'll put weathering on the tracks that will be consistent with the groundwork that I do. But you can see the dirt streaks and whatnot, the oil streaks. I did not want this to look like it had been out in the elements for years and years and years. By the time this really realistically would have been built, would have been in 44, maybe early 45, and would have been kept in the home island for defense. So I want it to be dirty and rained on and whatnot, but not too much. So here it is next to an M60. You can see the difference in size there. And here's just some other shots of it. You'll notice the panel lines, how they're enhanced, how that dry brushing technique really popped some of these parts out of here. And, well, I'm happy with the results. So we'll let you folks take a look at it here for a few minutes. The decals are the ones that come in the kit. There's actually 4 sets, and I used the one with the rising sun flag and this little star on the front that said to put there. So anyway, I hope you folks enjoyed this. We'll have more World of Tanks builds coming up in this next year, and take care. We'll see you soon.